there remains this can't boil it down fact that people are going to vote for a new Congress 1 week from today. And no matter what storyline is being invented or hyped or perverted by the White House, ahead of those elections next week, there remains this can't boil it down truth that if the Republican Party, if President Trump's Republican Party loses enough seats in either the House or in the Senate to actually lose control of either of those chambers, if that happens, if enough Democratic members of Congress win to flip control of either the House or the Senate to the Democratic Party, that will change the country in a specific way. What that will mean is that the actions of the Trump White House and the Trump administration will finally be, overseen. Right? Remember congressional oversight? They will be overseen. They will be scrutinized. If need be, they will be investigated by congressional committees that are no longer just there to help the president do stuff and to attack his detractors and his enemies. In every dark moment in American democracy, and we are in a dark moment right now, the vote is the way out. Right? It sounds simple, it sounds reductive, but that is the bargain that you make as a democratic society, right? Democracy can be a frustrating system. It can be very inefficient. Lots of problems can arise in democratic societies. But in a democracy, the solution to all of our problems, no matter how dark things get, is always to vote in a way that will change things. Always. Electing to be a democratic society means we agree that we will use this one tool as a country to make things better when they need to be made better. And it is frustrating, but that's what democracy is, right? It's a self-governing philosophy. It tells us that's the one tool you get to fix things. And so it's the one tool you use. And if you decide to give up on that tool and pursue things through other means, other more direct means, you're doing a lot of things, but you're not participating in the democratic way of life that we have chosen as a country. And so with next week's election, if the vote shows that the country has elected to go in a very different direction than the way we are going right now, it's not like that will make us a fundamentally different country, right? It won't be a spiritual change. We will still be the people who we are today. But if we make that change as a country a week from tonight, it will have a practical effect. I mean, if there is behavior by this White House and by this administration that you think might reasonably be checked or corrected or, if need be, reined in by another branch of government, that is what could happen depending on next week's vote and how it goes. I mean, that is the chance that's afforded by this election. That's the chance afforded to you when you go to vote for who you think should represent your congressional district and who you think should be your senator. That's the choice you get to make. There's a lot of lofty rhetoric, right, when you get to be 1 week around the election, especially at a time when things are going in ways that are so scary in this country. But get practical about this. What's the one thing you can change? You can change whether or not the administration has a check or doesn't by how you vote for your member of Congress. Here's just one very specific example, just from today's headlines. Just today, a Trump cabinet secretary was referred to the U.S. Justice Department for criminal investigation. It's Ryan Zinke, the Trump-appointed head of the Interior Department. He made headlines recently for trying awkwardly to fire the independent inspector general who had opened multiple simultaneous investigations into him based on various claims of corruption. Zinke sort of hilariously failed in his effort to fire that independent inspector general who was investigating him. And now tonight, the Washington Post is first to report that one of her investigations into Ryan Zinke has resulted in a referral of him to the Justice Department for criminal investigation. Now, we don't know which of her investigations had led to this. We don't know what the specific claims are that have led to this Justice Department referral. A senior White House official tells the Washington Post tonight, quote, "The White House understands that the investigation is looking into whether the secretary used his office to help himself." It's vague, but it doesn't seem good. But if a cabinet secretary has now been referred to the Justice Department for criminal investigation for using his public office to enrich himself, that's like what Congress was made for, right? I mean, getting all head up about that and figuring that out and getting to the bottom of it and exposing it and getting justice for that, being able to assure the American people that that kind of corruption is not happening, that anybody who is corrupt in that way will be found out, caught, held accountable, and expelled from public office. I mean, That's kind of why we have a Congress. I mean, they make laws, but they also do this. This is the oversight role of Congress. This is what they're built for. Well, this Congress, though, controlled by the Republicans, if you've been waiting to hear a peep out of them, a peep of concern, even about just this one thing involving Ryan Zinke, which has apparently resulted in a criminal referral as of today, you have not heard any of those peeps because there have been none, because the Republicans are in control of Congress. And while they are in control of Congress, they're not going to do anything about any of this stuff. But today, 3 Democratic senators, Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut, Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts, and Ron Wyden of Oregon, they wrote to Secretary Zinke telling him, quote, to immediately cease any efforts to use the office of the Secretary of the Interior for personal gain. The senators also directed him to, quote, fully reimburse the public for your private use of public resources. And when Democratic senators are in a minority, a letter like that will absolutely be ignored. But if they were in the majority, Ryan Zinke might actually have to do those things. Double time. That's in the Senate. Here's Raul Grijalva, Democrat of Arizona. He's the leading Democrat on the House Natural Resources Committee. He tells the Post today, quote, if Democrats are given the opportunity to hold a congressional majority next year, Secretary Zinke will be called to testify in February, meaning right after they're sworn in, on why his conduct in office merited referral to the Justice Department, whether that referral was related to the recent attempted firing of his Inspector General, and his many other failings and scandals, which, needless to say, is not happening if the Democrats don't take control of the House next week. We are 1 week out. Are the Democrats going to take control of the House? We can sort of maybe almost tell from here. That's next. Stay with us.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.